The United States military is said to be one of the most accepting places to work in the country. Soldiers often use the expression that they all bleed green. However, in the polarizing political climate that we live in, some say the culture is changing. Joining us to discuss, we have retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Darin Gaub. Lieutenant Colonel Darin Gaub, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Steve, it's great to see you again. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Colonel, we're approaching 21 years since the 9/11 attacks, a moment that actually unified the nation and strengthened military resolve. If you could reflect on what it felt like for you and where we are now.
Sure. Yeah, that's a significant change in American culture and the American military specifically. But when 9/11 happened, I was a captain in the Army out of Fort Carson, Colorado, and you could just see the clear patriotism and pride that had come out across the country. And we knew that at this point, we really had a common enemy that everybody was able to identify. Today is the opposite, really. Often our own soldiers are under the friendly fire of their own chain of command, and you've got a divided nation in many ways. Sometimes it's because that's what is being thrust upon us, is this desire to force division, and a woke culture generally that's affecting the entire country and our readiness right now. And it is hard to see a future where we can come together as one nation as we're designed to be again. And I don't know what would cause that, but I think we have to keep working towards it again.
Colonel, to your point, this term wokeness is kind of multi-pronged. There's different aspects of it, one of which is the term corpsman not being used anymore to being substituted with a gender-neutral term. When it comes to wokeness in the military, what types of things are you hearing about?
Well, that's just one small sample for sure of what is common across all the forces right now, unfortunately, and that is this idea that your gender, your ethnicity, some sort of gender identification, whatever you want to label yourself as, is driving a wedge between what's supposed to be the most tight-knit team in this entire country because it requires it. I'm hearing about things like corpsmen, being changed into medical personnel or something like that. I'm hearing those who are patriots now in the military getting driven out for failure to identify with this current agenda, as well as a result, many of the patriot kids, I guess you could say, the parents are encouraging them not to sign up. The kids themselves don't want to sign up, and those who do sign up come in pre-programmed in many ways, and their wokeness, I guess you could say, is accelerating into a military that is going to be lacking readiness because they're really just becoming another political arm of the White House and not necessarily a military arm focused on defending our Constitution and being a strong team.
I mean, so is it fair to say that this is politically driven by those in power versus a consensus among the rank and file?
At the senior ranks, I would say there's definitely politically driven, and that's no different than it has been throughout history. There's a point in persons in the military's rank structure when it becomes less about leadership and warfighting than it is about the political pursuit of often career over fulfilling of the oath. There's been some phenomenal officers in the history of America for sure that have not done that, but right now the senior chain of command is falling lockstep behind this agenda because they don't take their oath seriously, and they want to just maintain their positions where they are, continue to get promoted, take the paycheck, and see where they can go from there. I think that's pretty sad, unfortunately, but also unfortunately true. The rank and file, though, my concern is, and the risk that I see is that as these junior soldiers come in, whether they be lieutenants or privates or specialists or whatever, and that rank structure across all the services, because they've come in already kind of pre-programmed into the woke culture, you're going to see that culture inculcate through all the ranks over the next decade or so if we don't fix this with some very big moves. And I increasingly question the military's capacity to deal with that and turn back towards being the organization that is respected the way it's supposed to be across this country by all people regardless.
Lieutenant Colonel Darin Gaub, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Steve, it's a pleasure to be with you again. Thank you.